Welcome to Van Lathan's The Red Pill, where we give you the brutal reality of truth. Truth and respect, two things that go hand in hand. Typically, the more you tell the truth, the more respect you get. And the guest we have today is really in hip-hop and, in the culture, as people say it now, synonymous with respect. The man's name is James Prince. Jay Prince. He is an architect, one of the early architects of Southern hip-hop, bringing you such acts as the Ghetto Boys, as the head of Rap-A-Lot Records. He is promoting a book right now called The Art and Science of Respect that sort of details his life, sort of some of the things that he's been through, and how he's become one of the most powerful, most, again, respected, and quite frankly, most feared figures, not just in hip-hop today, but in hip-hop history. Jay Prince's influence touches both coasts, both North and South, and really everywhere that you've ever heard hip-hop. Your favorite rapper knows who this guy is, and if he walks into a room, everyone will pay him sort of the proper accolades. Now, interesting time to be talking to Jay Prince right now. Drake was just on LeBron James's show, The Shop, this past week, talking about some of the unresolved feelings that he has for Pusha T. We spoke to Jay Prince, or should I say I spoke to Jay Prince. This is a team situation here. We spoke to Jay Prince and asked him, even though the beef on wax is dead, is the actual beef between Drake and Pusha actually dead? Because I gotta be real with you, listening to The Shop, didn't seem like it was. When Drake said, Pusha T should get punched in his mouth, he didn't say he felt like he should have been punched in his mouth. He said he should be punched in his mouth. So a lot of people are wondering, even though these guys aren't going to go back and forth on wax, is it all good? Are there any issues? Has there actually been some sort of forgiveness that's happened? Or is there still a possibility that this thing could go left? Talked to Jay Prince a little bit about that. Also talked to him about Kanye West. He was supportive of Kanye West on Instagram, because unlike a lot of people who are wearing T-shirts and doing other things, Mr. Prince actually has a relationship with Larry Hoover, a man who Kanye West advocated to be released from prison, a very respected guy, feared guy in Chicago by a lot of people. And, Jay Prince he spoke highly of Kanye West bringing up Hoover in the meeting with Donald Trump. And a lot of people were confused by it, because to me and some others, what happened in Washington on Ye's behalf was pretty grotesque. It was pretty emasculating and tough to watch and bizarre. He saw it a different way. We talked to him a little bit about that too. I also wanted to load some other stuff from him. When was the last movie that he cried at? What pulls on the heartstrings of James Prince? What does he find funny? Do you ever watch Seinfeld and just crack up? Is there any time where he turns it off and just kind of gets into it? You guys will be not surprised to see that he answers that question exactly the way you think that he would answer it. Now, here's the thing about this interview. I am from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I say that at least once a show. I'm going to say it once a show until we finish doing these shows, because I am very proud of my community and where I'm from. Where I am from, James Prince is almost a deity. So this interview was a challenge for me. It was a good exercise. I was delighted to talk to the man and be able to share energy with him. But I'm sitting here talking to someone who I looked up to, had heard stories about, and had almost, from where I'm from, indoctrinated, should I say, into having respect for. Like, they teach you respect for James Prince in the South. You don't learn it, they teach it to you. So it was good to talk to him, good to share energy with him, and good to sit down with him. But a lot of times I had to kind of pull myself out of my space. Now, we're going to get to the interview in 1 second. I do want to talk about one thing real fast, a little bit about mental health and how we use that term and how we're throwing it around. Okay, so we're seeing a bunch of different people in the space, one being Kanye West, who we're not sure about where they are in terms of their own mental health. And there was a Saturday Night Live sketch this past week that, to me, poked a little bit of fun at the mental health or the mental state of Kanye West. Here's the thing. I can't say, or anyone else can't say, how affected by mental illness Kanye West is. But there's one thing that I can say. If he is significantly affected by mental illness, if it is impairing his judgment or in any way making him act in ways that he might not have acted, it's not funny. And it's something that everyone should sort of look at themselves and ask the questions about exploiting him. And that goes certainly for what happened here at TMZ, and we talked about that on the show. It goes for the President of the United States. It goes for anyone else who would be enabling a man who is not well to rant and rave and go out there and make a spectacle of himself without getting him the proper help. I have an anxiety disorder, and it is a very delicate balancing act with this disorder, should I say, to understand when I'm taking on too much, to kind of get when I need to kind of pull away, take my shoes off, walk in the grass, and center myself to get back to zero. This has happened here before, that I've passed out in the TMZ newsroom and missed a month of work trying to search and find a balance for myself. So it's a debilitating disease when your brain is giving you a bunch of mixed signals. And sometimes the best thing for that is just finding a safe, quiet space to talk to someone and to kind of work those things out. It's very difficult to do that when you're being pulled in a bunch of different ways for promo, when you're being used politically, when you're being used socially, when you're being used economically. I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that love Kanye West, but if he is unwell, the question will be, do they love him enough to make him get himself together? Do they love him enough to demand that he take his mental health seriously? It just doesn't just go for him. It goes for everyone in our community that is diagnosed and undiagnosed. Like, when you have these people around you, do you care about them enough that you'll put the relationships that you might have with them in jeopardy to make them deal with some of their issues? Or maybe not even make them, to implore them to deal with some of their issues. There were definitely people that had to do that with me, people that had to push me to deal with the root causes of my anxiety and the root causes of my mental illness. And there are still people in my life that make sure that I have my head on straight. And I value those people. So I want to say that, but we're about to get to Jay Prince. We're going to get to Jay Prince. The name of his book is The Art and Science of Respect. He is one of the architects of Southern hip-hop. Pop some pills. Let's do it. Yo, I mean, normally we have, like, before the podcast, we have everybody clap, and there's a lot of other people in the podcast, but I ain't gonna lie, Jay Prince came in here deep today, so it will really just be his people clapping for him, but still, we're gonna everybody clap for a legend real quick, man. That's what I'm talking about. When I say legend, I mean a real legend. For me, I'm from Louisiana, so being from Baton Rouge, you know, everybody knows what Rap-A-Lot has meant to hip-hop and what your presence in hip-hop has kind of meant over the years. So, Jay Prince, why don't you just, before we even get started, the name of the book is The Art and Science of Respect.
Yeah.
What is that? Like, what does that mean to you? You were one of the most respected figures in hip-hop history. If you were summing that up, what would it be?
Well, you know, the art part of it is, you know, your creative mind, the things that you dream, the things that you envision, you know, the artistic part of, let's say, a goal that you want to accomplish.
Yeah.
And the science part is the ingredients, the knowledge, you know, the things that it takes to accomplish that goal. And, you know, I explain when the two or accomplish. You know what I mean? It always, a form of respect to see, anybody accomplish their vision, their goals, in life. And I wrap that around respect. Yeah, and that's how I was able to accomplish a lot of respect along my journey.
Right. You seem to have, there's a lot of fake respect out there right now. There's a lot of dudes that say, women and men, that say they respect someone to get in the proximity of this person, so they can kind of sort of capitalize on what that person has. There are a lot of people that show fake love and sometimes even fake fear. The respect that people have for you seems to be very genuine, coming from all different sort of demos of hip-hop, from the younger to the older to the other OGs that's been in the game with you. Why is it always so real when it comes to you?
Well, I think it all begun with me giving, everybody respect. And it been happening for decades. And after I gave it, I earned it. And, and after that, I demanded it. And it been going on for years through a lot of trials and tribulations, you know what I mean? And when one, observe a man or a person, being able to come through hurricanes and storms of life that you can really identify with, where we from, and, I think they respect that, and having a word, is like icing on the cake. And I've been that type of person, all of my life.
So why was it important for you to write the book? Why was the book at this point, you've accomplished so much, name still relevant, why now was it important for you to kind of write the book?
I believe readers are leaders. And, I wanted to lead by example. And, I feel the things that I've accomplished in life is definitely some wisdom, knowledge, and understanding for those that's after me to be able to do things just a little more easier. Yeah, and apply, a lot of different gifts and formulas that I have where life and business is concerned. I believe it's a method of giving back.
Right. Do you feel like there's something right now in the culture that's missing? Maybe a hole that you think some of the wisdom in the book could fill?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a whole lot of holes. You know what I mean? In the system, and yeah, most definitely, because my method of doing things is a majority of it is a method you can't learn in school. You know what I mean? It came from me. It came from answered prayer. You know what I mean? All the different sides of the spectrum that I shared, along my journey.
Now, Drake is the biggest artist right now, maybe in music. Forget about hip-hop. Drake might have transcended hip-hop and become just the biggest musical artist, period. No one kind of gets it popping like him right now. He just did an interview made a lot of news about something that you were sort of directly involved in. This was this whole back and forth that was happening this summer between him and Pusha T. For the first time, Drake came out and really discussed what was on his mind when that whole thing was going on. Nobody really knew. I guess you had kind of spoke a little bit for him, and now he first put it out there. He said that that sort of all the back and forth, he felt like it went too far, and it made him not want to keep things rap-wise. You had said, or I had read that you had said you advised Drake to squash the beef from a hip-hop perspective. Is it totally squashed, period, or did something carry on besides rap, you think?
I mean, I think it crossed the lines of rap, you know what I mean, when it went to his mother, his father, and his friend, you know, a man that's, you wishing death on a man that's, ill that way. To me, that crossed the lines of hip-hop and rap. And that's personal. You know what I mean? And that was the reason I spoke up and advised him, okay, you know, let's leave this alone because it's finna go to a whole different place. Because, you know, I understood where it was finna go. I done witnessed it so many times until, you know, I knew it was the intelligent thing to do.
Is there any way, I mean, not so much asking you to speak for him, but is there any way now that things have been said that they can be unsaid? Is there any way that they can piece it up for real? Because Drake made it seem like that there was still some animus that he had towards Pusha T, even though he wasn't going to respond to him with a song.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of times it's a matter of time before wounds heal. You know, as we all witnessed Meek Mill a few months ago, you know, Drake and Meek was able to come together and do some things. So, you know, the possibilities are limited, you know, when wounds are healed.
Right. That's dope. For situations like that, like, you know, static about rap lyrics and stuff like that, how serious is that stuff for real? Because we only see, I mean, at TMZ we see a little bit more than some other people might, but we only see what happens in the studios. You never really feel like, you never really know whether or not there are actual feelings behind some of these things. Obviously, some of them start from the street, and if they start from the street, you get that sometimes they just bleed over into the booth.
Yeah.
But, you know, these things that are said on wax, it seems like everybody's doing it for publicity and clout. How often in your career have you seen these things go from just music to actually turning serious?
Yeah, many times. You know, a lot of, I witnessed a lot of these things take place with artists that hasn't made it yet, you know what I mean? And, you know, just to tap into the Biggie Tupac situation, you know, I witnessed that when it was a babe, and I saw how it evolved, you know what I mean, until, you know, actually lives being taken. So, you know, when you see these things and you really have the ability to think, then you know, you want to do something about them. You know, and for sure, you know, with me being in the picture and down with Drake the way I'm down with him, then I know where it could have went from 0 to 1,000 quick, fast, and in a hurry. So, you know, I wanted to prevent any of that because that's not how we get paid.
Right, I got it. But I mean, if you're pushed right now, or anybody from his camp, it's all good. The squash should be no reason that anybody feels like there's, because I know Drake. It seemed like Drake still was a little tight about it. You know what I mean? He said there were no rules, but he said there are rules, and he said that he felt like maybe something should have happened.
Yeah. Well, you know, we you know, I said what I said. You know what I mean? And you know, we was able to leave that alone, and I hope, what they say, let sleeping dogs be slept. Yeah.
My grandma used to say that.
Yeah.
So you in Houston and down there in South Texas, very important guy. You take on a leadership capacity in terms of the community is concerned. How important do you think it is for what people are doing in entertainment-wise to actually bleed over? Because it's a conversation we're always having about how involved should you be? How involved should you be not just in rap and making your money for your family and stuff like that? How involved should you be in the families and the other people that's in your community with you, and, you know, positive representation and stuff like that? For you personally, how important is it for you know, big dudes in the game to kind of be hands-on with the people who support their music and whatever?
Yeah, I think that's very important, you know, for anybody that's successful in the hood to give back. You know what I mean? I don't even like the guys who make it and abandon where they from, because, you know, I always tell them, if the truth be told, you know, you couldn't even be who you are today without, you know, the hood help shaping and molding, you know, you into becoming that person, whether it's an artist or athlete, whatever it may be, you know. So, you know, I live by example where that's concerned. You know, that's a lifestyle for me, to give back to my community, to build in my community, and, you know, to try to be a voice, you know, in my community, and I'm accessible. So, you know, I think that's real important. And if everybody would would really get that and unite where that's concerned, then you would see a whole lot of violence and different things would go down, actually. You know what I mean? If these very people that's from the hoods give back and plant the seeds of love, you know what I mean, where the hood is concerned.
Yeah, I saw you talk a little bit about Ye's visit to the White House and and like how he because I ain't gonna lie, I was pissed off. I mean, I gotta be real with you. I was mad. Like for me, you know, I see Kanye West talking to Donald Trump, and I just see him say something to the effect of, "Yo, I never understood any masculine energy till I was around you," almost like calling Trump his pops. And I was like, "My God, bruh."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was tough for me to kind of just to see a black man in the Oval Office kind of bowing down, you know, to Donald Trump. But a lot of other things, I think because he did that, a lot of the other things he said while he was there kind of got washed away. You pointed out something that you liked that kind of goes along with what we're talking about. The fact that Kanye West advocated for the release of a very respected guy in Chicago, Larry Hoover.
Yeah.
And you feel like that was important for him to say on that stage.
Yeah.
Why did you feel like it was important for you to kind of say that?
Well, I felt it was important because, you know, you're at the top saying that, you know, there's no in between people. You know what I mean? You're at the top where a man could actually, he could do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I really feel that the time that the United States of America is giving, you know, people that's arrested for drugs and unviolent crimes is above and beyond. You know what I mean? I don't feel you should take people, you know, all of their life away behind something, you know, that I don't want to call it trivial, but from the time that they're given, you know, where those cases are concerned, it's a little astronomical. And, you know, with me hearing Kanye speak on that about somebody who I personally know, you know what I mean? And we all, if we think about it, have someone in our families that's a victim of these extraordinary lengths of time that America, who's to say that that's right? You know what I mean? Where that come from? One have to like really dig into the root of where this kind of time and different things came from, you know, when they put it on crack, rock versus powder. You know, it's all an act of racism, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I love the fact when he spoke on Larry, because we all have a lot of Larrys in our family that's victims of those situations.
How do you? So I don't know too much about Larry Hoover, but I know basically what I'm told from some of my homies in Chicago, and just basically through legend and lore, should I say, from the rest of it. What you said is interesting. It's interesting that when you juggle the penalty that some of our brothers get, you know, based upon some of the things that have been done. For example, we had Big U in here, and Big U sat down and we talked to Big U, and since Big U has been home, you know, a lot of gang activity here in LA has gone down. Yeah, because he's been on the street to sort of kind of take control and work with different entities and make sure that things are pointing in the right direction. There are people on the other side of that might say, shout out to Big U, one of my big homies, but there are a lot of other people that might say that some of the things that he had done, or maybe even Larry Hoover had done, that maybe they made those communities unsafe in the first place. Like, what would you say to people who would say that?
Well, I say to those people, you know, they want to live in the past. You can't live in the past. You know what I mean? You can't eat off of that meal you ate yesterday and be satisfied. You know, people like Big U, and it's certain things that's a fact. You know what I mean? Like, the brother is respected. You know what I mean? When he speak, the youth gonna hear him. The same goes for me. You know, in my hood right now, when I speak, they gonna hear me, and I know things is a certain way because I'm free and I have access to the homies in Houston. It's the same for Larry, for Hoover. You know what I mean? There's no doubt about it. Anybody that's really interested in saving lives in Chicago, where that debt toll is concerned, he the perfect antidote. You know what I mean? Now, if we want to be locked into unforgiveness about, you know, what we all done in the past, then we all should be hung. You know what I mean? Because none of us are perfect where that's concerned. You know what I mean? I raise my hand first and say, you know, I wasn't always on this side of the track where, you know, my mind was focused and you know, my ability of thinking as clear as it is right now. But what a difference I make today.
Word.
Yeah.
Word. How'd you get there? How'd you get to the side of the track you're on right now? Like, you know, how'd you come to being someone who sees the problem and wants to do something about it?
Well, you witness a lot of things that don't work. You know what I mean? Just like those brothers, they had a opportunity to sit down and think. You know what I mean? And they were able to, like, stay alive, because it's hard to stay alive where we from.
Word.
And when you're able to stay alive and be able to, you know, think and consume and figure out some things, then, you know, only a fool, you know, stay in bondage. And, you know, neither of those guys are fools. So, you know, and they know how to think. You know, I tell all the brothers, you know, I feel like, you know, brothers from the hood are some of the most brilliant brothers in the world.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, it's just a matter of applying that science, applying that hustle, whatever it is, in corporate America. You know what I mean? And I wrote about that in my book. Once we able to, you know, diversify, you know what I mean, our portfolios of those things that we was in bondage with as a youth or as a youngster into corporate America, we some brilliant individuals.
You know what's crazy about that? When I was in college, I used to tutor some of the Prop 48s, the guys who couldn't qualify, you know, on the football team.
Yeah.
And you had a whole bunch of brothers that people would say were stupid, right? And I sit down with guys and we would be reading and writing and stuff like that. Some of these guys, they had trouble reading what was on the page.
Yeah.
But if you then took that page and removed whatever we was reading, Mark Twain or whatever,
Yeah.
and then put it back with the assignments
Yeah.
that they had to know for the game coming up,
Yeah.
not only did they know what they were supposed to be doing, but 6 or 7 variations. Like, they're thinking on the move and synthesizing the information so quickly
Yeah.
and so adeptly that you're like, yo, this is what this brother has chosen to apply his brain power to.
Right.
The other thing didn't really matter for him because this is what he thought was going to sort of make him $1 million.
Yeah.
And I had to just get them to the point where they could qualify so they could go ahead and play in the NFL right now. And it's really thanks to me. So, you know, you can shout me out whenever you want.
That's a beautiful story.
But what I'm saying is, how do we change the priorities though? You know, because a lot of times in the community, brothers are thinking about how they get out, and sisters, and how they survive.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get them with those lessons. Like when you say survival teaches you a lot of lessons because after you've gotten there, you got a family, now you're thinking about generational wealth and different things like that.
Yeah.
But right now, if we're trying to affect them, how do we pull them away from things that are short term and make them think about things that are long term?
Well, I think it would be good to begin in school. You know what I mean? I think school, and I speak for myself, was boring to me. So I think the curriculum, you know, in school needs to be adjusted to a certain extent. You know what I mean?
What would the James Prince School look like? What would they teach? What would they teach in your school?
I would, you know, actually my daughter has a school and a Prince Complex, a community center that I built. And one of the things that I really love that they focus on is what that particular kid want to be. You know what I mean? And whatever you want to be, they nourish that. You know what I mean? So a lot of the energy, a lot of what you want to be in life is what they're going to start shaping and molding you to become at a young age. And believe it or not, that would keep your attention. You know what I mean? Because this is something that you love. You know, you may not be in love with science or the history about, you know, all those other people. But, you know, to nourish the situation that you really want to become, begin that. You know what I mean? Put some extra emphasis on that. not to alienate from the other areas, but for sure put emphasis on that particular area.
I was talking to my nephew. First of all, shout out to my nephew, man. He thinks that I'm smart, so he had to do some long division. He brought me the long division. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I haven't done it in a very long time. I have no clue what even anything looks like. And after I got frustrated trying to teach him how to do it, my sister got mad at me because I told him, I said, you understand it. You're not going to use any of this anyway.
Yeah.
So why don't we just get the answers out the back of the book and then finish his homework assignment so I could play Madden. But the reality is that if school was different and if it was a situation where, forget about we don't even know the laws. Like a lot of brothers get locked up and a lot of people get locked up and they don't even know what their rights are. So there's a bunch of basic human knowledge that you don't even get from school, that you don't get until it's time for you to be in a situation where you really, really, really need it. So I hear what you're saying right there. If there was one lesson in the book in here that you would want people to get, what would it be? What's the most important takeaway from it?
Oh man, it's a lot of them. But if I had to go to one particular chapter, it would be to my brothers that's in bondage. You know what I mean? Meaning the ones that's in bondage in a lot of illegal activity. And my life-saving move that I wrote about was my experience in the closet, where I transgressed and went from the streets to corporate America. You know what I mean? That's a message that saved my life. So, and I know it would save so many other brothers' life if they will, make that choice in time. Because, believe it or not, you're on a time clock when you are in the jungle doing a lot of things where all them alphabet boys want to, destroy your whole world. So, that's one of many.
Right. How were you able to make that choice?
Well, mine had a lot of spirituality attached to it. You know what I mean? I always was a praying man, even in the midst of everything that I'd done. And one of the things that I would do every night or every morning before getting into bed is repeat the same prayer: Lord, before you take my freedom or take my life, give me a sign. And he had gave me many signs.
Right.
But it was one in particular that convicted me, that he, almost slapped me and say, now this is the sign you've been praying for. And I was obedient to that sign, and I never looked back. And I got blessed beyond my expectation from being obedient to that sign.
Yeah. You know what? It's crazy because it seems like, I'm from the South to where, you could say anything, and people might let it slide. But if you say you don't believe in God, that's the one thing they're not going to abide by where I'm from. I'm from Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
It seems like we losing touch of that a little bit, man.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like the further things go, we losing touch with our spirituality a little bit.
Yeah. I think the word say every generation going to get wiser or weaker. And I think that may be in Revelation. It's a lot of validity to that statement because we having more access to all of everything, you know what I mean? But as you just stated, our spirituality and the word respect, period, is like diminishing to a certain extent. So, no, you're absolutely right about that. But down south, I always make this analogy to all my East Coast and West Coast homies. I tell them East Coast a piece of bread, West Coast a piece of bread, and we the meat down south. Word. So they can't have a real sandwich without us because their grandmothers, their great-grandma, somebody come from there.
Word.
You know what I mean? And
somebody got to come from there.
Yeah.
If you go back far enough,
right.
No other place you could have come from.
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah,
they're rooted down that way.
So your influence on hip hop, especially Southern hip hop, there's really no way to quantify it or to put it in words. And right now, the South kind of runs hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Been running hip hop for a while. New York's pretty high right now, but the South, you know, Georgia specifically, Atlanta, that's the whole sound seems like that's what hip hop is on. Did you ever think that there would be a time when there would be this much representation and this much kind of love for the South in the game?
Well, I can't say I saw it coming, but I was one of the first on the battlefield blazing for it to happen. You know what I mean? Yeah. I felt like we deserved that opportunity in that respect. And it was from that mentality that helped lay, you know, the foundation for it all to take place. I didn't know the magnitude of how it would take place, but I love the headlock we got the game in right now.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. How long you think it's gonna last?
Oh, I think we're here to stay. You know what I mean? Once again, you can't have a sandwich without the meat. You know what I mean? Or some kind of spread between there, and we the root, man.
So of all the MCs you done heard that come out of the South, who do you think is the one that you would say was the most influential or the most important Southern MC?
That's a good question. And I'm gonna have to go with Scarface.
That's all I thought you was gonna say, man. Because I got a Brad Jordan appreciation movement going on the red pill. Everybody clap right now for Scarface, man.
Yeah.
Austin, how come you ain't clap that loud for Scarface, dog? Nah, man. You might want to clap with the dudes in this room for Scarface. I'm just saying, bro. Nah, man. Me and Joe Budden was talking about this. You know, I really feel like Face was one of the first dudes to kind of really get that respect that so many Southern artists was kind of yearning for, because the pen was so crazy, the flow was so crazy, and his sort of everything that he was talking about was so serious and relatable, man. What was it like working with him throughout, you know, his career, the beginning of his career, and just kind of watching what happened with him?
It was a beautiful journey. You know, Scarface is an interesting guy. You know what I mean? Yeah, along with all the other colorful personalities that made up the Ghetto Boys.
Word.
You know what I mean? But we had a lot of fun together, man. We had a lot of fun together, and we took a lot of risk. You know, we were fearless, and you know, we sit at that table, and you know, I call the play, and I say the play on one. They were riding with me. You know what I mean? We all moved simultaneously. So, you know, I respect my brother. We was together the other day.
Word.
Yeah, we was together the other day, and it's been a beautiful journey, man. Yeah.
When the South really started to pop, the first time it started to pop, like, for me, is when I saw a bunch of different movements. When back home you had, you know, No Limit, you had Cash Money, you had Swisher House, you had all of these different labels from different various areas started to kind of get there. You had, you know, the Dungeon Family out in Atlanta doing everything and all of that stuff like that.
Luke.
Yeah. We don't mention Luke like we should, bro.
Yeah.
Really, Luke and them, you can make the argument that Luke, they were really amongst the first Southern artists to pop the whole thing, because they was all on MTV and doing all of that, man.
Yeah.
I gotta slap myself for not mentioning Uncle Luke. Shout out to Uncle Luke and that whole Miami sound. When that first started to happen, was there, I know that y'all worked together a ton, but was there competition? Was there like a situation when you guys, because, you know, Rap A Lot was amongst the early people, when you start to see No Limit and Cash Money who's, you know, obviously still around kicking right now, was there any thought of, yo, we gotta kind of outdo them or outsell them? Was there anything like that?
Yeah, well, you know, first of all those guys are like my students, other than Luke. You know, me and Luke, we definitely worked and done things together, but the other guys, you know, we communicated, and, you know what I mean, I shared game and wisdom with them. I always tell everybody they inspired me. You know what I mean? When I saw them doing their thing, I was inspired. When I done my thing, they was inspired. So it was never any animosity or any ill feelings, you know, toward us. We never clashed. You know what I mean? I was inspired. You know, all of them inspired me. Even on the West Coast, on the East Coast, that's the energy I drew from seeing, the homies make it. I wanted to turn my hustle up.
Word, word. Okay. What's the biggest mistake you feel like you learned from? You talk about some of the mistakes that you made. What's the biggest mistake that you felt like you learned from?
Well, it's been a many mistakes.
Okay.
but one of them was definitely in the music game was, I lost Vanilla Ice. I had Vanilla Ice in my hand. You know what I mean? That Vanilla Ice album sold like
what?
12 or 13 million.
It was big. What you mean you have Vanilla? How you have Vanilla Ice?
Yeah. I saw Vanilla Ice perform.
Did y'all know this?
Yeah.
I've never heard of Julia. Did you know this? Well, shout out to Julia Beverly, by the way. Hey, give it up for Julia Beverly right there. Yeah. Becoming the down south hip hop historian. She did Pimp's book and do it. Huh? I didn't read it yet. No.
Yeah.
Did you just check me? You you just checked me? I didn't get a chance to read it yet, man. This is my first. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it, man. You just checked me.
Yeah,
I should have got me a copy earlier, but so the Vanilla Ice situation, that's gonna help. We're about to sell some books now because we don't know. So Vanilla Ice, what happened with that?
Yeah, no, I had him. He was ready to roll with me. Came in Houston, stayed in my studio probably a week or two, and I told my partner at the time, I say sign him. You know what I mean? And I had heard that song Ice Ice Baby. So
first time you heard it, what'd you think?
I'm like, well, I saw him perform with it.
And you was dancing.
I'm like, whoa, you know what I mean? I'm looking at him, I'm like, whoa, this is a white MC Hammer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, this boy got something. This boy can move. Special.
Yeah.
So anyway, I took him to the studio that night, and you gonna roll with me. And I signed, the paperwork to my partner at the time. And when I heard the song on the radio, I was excited because I'm like, oh, I got me one.
Right.
And he didn't sign him. So that was a mistake that I didn't make anymore, was putting the responsibility of taking care of some business of that importance in somebody else's hand.
Now you see to it that the is there anybody else that you missed out on? By the way, let me tell you something real quick. You remember that movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze?
I don't remember.
You don't remember that, do you?
Nah.
Well, Vanilla Ice performs at the end of that movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he performs a ninja rap.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going deep into my history now. Just a little bit about me. I was such a big Vanilla Ice fan.
Yeah.
That I got up and I started dancing in the movie theater.
Oh, beautiful.
Well, not to my dad. Sit your ass down, boy. Don't dance for no white man like that. I don't want to hear that. If there was Michael Jackson, I could see James Brown, I could see who is this dude. My dad was very upset. Brought up at my high school graduation. It was embarrassing. So, told everybody. So
Vanilla had you crunk, huh?
You have no idea. I didn't know he was going to be in the movie. Wasn't no internet, right? So I'm there. I'm 11 years old. I'm going to see the movie. The Turtles, they doing their thing and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, it's Vanilla Ice. I'm like, oh my God! I get up and I'm dancing. My dad was embarrassed, man. I love you, pops. You have to do me like that. So, for you, is there any other opportunities like that you missed out on that you can remember? Any guys you were close to signing?
No, pretty much from that day forward, I was able.
You got everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't have to learn that lesson twice.
You have to learn it twice. Wouldn't have been a lesson if you had to learn it twice.
Yeah.
So a lot of the conversations about you, and we're gonna talk more about the book. Like, what do you do like for fun? Like, do you like? I mean, like, what do you ever like sit at the crib and watch Seinfeld and just laugh?
No, I like to watch a lot of boxing. I'm into boxing, so
me too.
Yeah, that's like my favorite sport. So I spend a lot of time, boxing. I spend a lot of time just with peace and tranquility. Doing family things. Stuff like that. Yeah. You don't
want so you don't like none of the other stuff that we do. You don't sit down and just mess around on YouTube watching cute cat videos and nothing like that.
I peep YouTube sometimes.
I'm trying to get you to break down here. Like, no, keep it real. Who's the best boxer in the world right now? It's a good crop of young boxers out there. Terrence Crawford just took somebody's head off on Saturday.
Yeah.
Who you checking for? I know you had a very close relationship with Andre Ward. He retired on top.
Right. Right.
So if there was somebody right now you could pluck and kind of get with him, who do you mess with in the boxing game?
Well, I would have to begin with Shakur Stevenson. You know, he signed to me as well.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. You saw what he done the other night.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something, man. That ref need to have his head checked.
Yeah.
Because Shakur is gonna knock that man's head off.
Right.
And he didn't step in. He was doing this thing. So you think he's the next big thing?
Yeah. I think he's the future.
9-0, 10-0 right now, something like that.
Yeah.
He's the future of the game. Like, what about the sport of boxing draws you to it?
Oh man, I love the excitement about the sport. It was my first love always. You know, music, I got distracted where music was concerned, but I just love the sport of boxing. I love the
no escaping that ring.
Yeah, you know
No
what
escape.
I mean? It's a beautiful art, man. Yeah.
Either coward or conqueror, my dad says, once you step in that ring, man.
Yeah. Love it.
Are you looking for a 38-year-old heavyweight that doesn't have any fights yet? I don't have no tread on the tires, JP. None.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm out here doing my thing, man.
Like that, huh?
Yeah.
We'll give it a shot.
I'm put me in the ring. I'm
That's
serious,
what I'm saying. That's
man.
where
Everybody
we'll
talking
begin.
about Wilder and Fury. Ain't nobody checking for me.
Take care of all that, huh?
All of them.
Okay.
Dust them off.
Well, we can go get that money.
I'll tell you right now, I'll put a challenge out here on the red pill. I'm willing to fight anybody. Okay, I'm about 235 pounds. I'm willing to fight anybody over 65 from 109 pounds to 150 pounds. You over 65, 109 pounds to 160, I'm willing to fight you. Prince gonna set it up.
All right, George Foreman.
So tell me how you and Julia hooked up. You know what I mean? How did y'all hook up for her to be the biographer? Because I should give a shout out to my girl Jazz Fly, who also had a lot to do with the book. Also did a lot of. How did y'all hook up? Because once again, I mentioned earlier, I said it in passing, but she really has a big hand in hip hop right now. From Pimp's book, which I came to the book situation on that one. That one I supported, read it, loved it. Pimp C, rest in peace. One of the biggest influences in my life, Pimp C. How did y'all get connected and stuff like that?
Well, Julie been, on this playing field in hip hop for a while, and I've been watching her. I watch her work ethic. I watch the whole movement. How she built Ozone.
Yeah,
and even
Ozone, man.
Yeah, and even after that. So when I got ready to do my book, I wanted real people involved. You know what I mean? That I knew would keep it real and bust their ass. And we would win together. So I called her first. One of the first ones I called, and it's a success story.
It is.
Yeah.
Overall, where the country is right now. Because I'm gonna be honest with you. The things that I talk to my OGs about is how I'm supposed to be moving. You know what I mean? How I'm supposed to be moving as a black man in America right now with what we're going through with Donald Trump. We talked a little bit about that earlier. For me, you always want to come at things with an intelligent and diplomatic mind and listen to people's point of views and perspectives. But at the same time, just kind of the way I came up, where I came up, there's just a lot of bullshit I'm just not going to go for. And it's hard. We talked about Kanye earlier. Obviously, big thing between me and Kanye here in the newsroom. Everybody saw it. Do you have a specific opinion on Donald Trump and Trump's version of America and how we, as black people, should sort of deal with it when you see kind of like the political landscape and how fractured things are? Is there something that you think? What's your perspective on the whole thing?
Yeah, I think a lot where that's concerned, but I'm gonna keep it to myself right now.
What?
You know what I mean? I think it's a time and a place for everything.
And that time and that place is not the red pill right now?
Well, definitely the red pill is special. I wouldn't be here. We understand that. But yeah,
I got you. But let me ask you this, maybe just this situation right now. In terms of do you think there's anything wrong with talking to people that you don't agree with? Like, do you think that there's anything wrong with like, because there's the big debate is, how do we deal with this? If you're invited to the White House, do you go or do you not go in order not to have this conversation with this man?
Yeah.
How do you, like, how someone who's dealt with, kind of getting to the bottom of problems, what do you think about that?
I mean, if I had an invitation to go and sit with him, I would go.
You would.
You know what I mean? I can only speak for me because, people have reasons why they don't want to do or why they want to do different things. And,
Like, Mr. Prince, a lot of people are going to be, just to let you know, there'll probably be a lot of people that would be hurt or offended to hear that you say that you would go to the White House.
But that's because they elevate only go up so far. You know what I mean? Because anybody know me, if I go, it's going to be with a purpose.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm going to be about my people.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what I mean? It ain't going to be me going. Matter of fact, they should welcome me to go.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because I'm that type of individual, where I got character whether they looking or not.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm going to stand.
Mm. So, look, man, it's been a very eye-opening interview for me. Even though you didn't want to answer my Trump question, I'm trying to get the game for you.
Yeah.
What do you want your legacy to be? You have so much legacy already. You got a bunch of strong, respectful children out here who got respect in this industry. Your name rings out coast to coast. What do you want to be remembered for? And that's not punching your clock.
Yeah.
We got a lot more James Prince, but what do you want to be remembered for?
A man of respect.
Mm.
A man of respect. That'll be enough for me.
That's it.
Yeah, I can live with that. I can go out with that.
Go out with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any way you could give me some tickets to a Drake concert? Because, he had LeBron come out there, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
When was that? When did they perform together?
That was like Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. You want to go? It's
not going to happen, y'all. I can tell y'all right now, listen. Like my uncle used to do. My uncles would I asked my uncle, be like, yo, can I have a big wheel? He'd be like, haha, we'll see about it.
Yeah.
And anytime he said, we'll see about it, you knew it wasn't going to happen. Everybody give it up for James Prince, man. A lot of takeaways. Look, this book right here says Julia. Oh, is this you in the Feli situation right here?
Yeah, Rolls Royce, white
Drip.
Feli.
This is real original drip, the whole Feli suit. Oh my God, man. Look at this right here. A lot of times in the music business, you see people and y'all bullshit each other, but when you do business with James Prince, you're held at your word. If he tells you something, he's going to do it, which is refreshing.
That means you can go to the concert tonight.
Oh, that's true. Ooh, okay,
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah. Got you, man. The Feli suit, I don't even want to go to the concert. I want this Feli outfit right here, man.
Oh, man, that's a throwback there, bro.
Do you know how hard this will go right now?
Yeah.
You say it's a throwback. If I show up right now, if I show up to One Oak tomorrow in this Feli outfit with this exact Rolls Royce, I'm not leaving alone. All right, so we talked a lot about the book. Where can people get the book from?
Oh, you can get it at Amazon.
Okay.
Barnes and Noble.
Mm-hmm.
I also have a audio version that's narrated by me. So
okay.
Go to iTunes, Tidal. The book is everywhere. Yeah. And of course, you can follow me at J Prince Respect.
You're on the gram.
Live and in living color.
You're on the gram. You know what I don't see on the gram though? That picture of that Feli jumpsuit.
Oh,
I don't see it. You got to put that on the gram if you really want to get your likes up, bro.
That'll help me, huh?
That'll help you, man. That should be your gram picture right there. I love that. So you're on the gram. Shout that handle out again.
At J Prince Respect.
All right. Y'all give it up for J Prince one more time, man. We really appreciate you making the time.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me, bro.
I ask you, is there anything we missed? Is there anything you want people to know about that we did not cover in this interview?
Man, it was a great interview.
I thought so. What's your favorite funny movie?
My favorite funny movie.
You watch it and you just laugh.
Oh,
you in the crib and you laughing your head off.
Well, I was telling them the other day, one of the hardest laughs I had watching was the Eddie Murphy. What's the name of that comedy thing? Eddie Murphy.
Raw.
Was it Raw?
Is it Eddie Murphy comedy or Eddie Murphy movie?
No. I'm talking about comedy.
He was on one stage?
Yeah.
It was either Raw or Delirious.
Delirious, I think.
Delirious is funny. Yeah. Delirious is funny. Has there ever been a movie that made you cry?
I don't remember that one if it had. If it been one of them, I don't remember. I had to be a kid or something. I don't remember that one.
There's a movie called My Little Pony. That's what Austin be crying at. Yeah. The ponies they got magic and stuff like that, and Austin cries. All right, we out of here.